Christians and my friend here, and I don't know where to start because this whole thing is just so really messed up. He says that the Israelites are going to be judged based on his commandments, God's commandments, while everyone else is going to be judged based upon how they treated the Israelites. Now, both of these are wrong. Every person is going to be judged according or based on God's commandments. Every single one of us. But there's a difference. Those of us who have faith in Christ are going to be judged as having obeyed all of God's commandments because Christ obeyed all of God's commandments in our stead. Which means that everyone who is outside of Christ, everyone who is outside of Christ is going to be judged according to God's commandments, and they all are condemned eternally. That doesn't matter if they're Jew or if they're Gentile. Just as those who put their faith in Jesus Christ will be saved as having kept, because in God's eyes, they kept the law of God because Jesus did, which warranted our ability to put faith in him. That's what our faith in him is all about. Standing before God righteously as if we kept God's law, even though we did not. But we did put our faith in Jesus Christ, who did keep God's law, and that is how we are saved. What this person is talking about makes no sense. It's not biblical. There's nothing he can show to support this ridiculous idea. All men, according to John chapter 5, verse 28 and 29, are going to be resurrected at the same time. All men, righteous men and unrighteous men, are going to hear the voice of the Lord, and all men are going to stand before him at one judgment, one universal judgment. And it's all going to come down to one thing. If you don't believe in Jesus Christ before you die, you will remain in your sin and be judged according to God's law, whereby all people in that condition will suffer the eternal penalty, the eternal condemnation as a penalty for their sin and violation of God's law, and having no sacrifice before God in their place, which is what Christians do have. Christians, whether they be Jew or Gentile, if they have their faith in Jesus Christ, they stand before God as if they kept his law completely, only because Jesus did on their behalf. Be provoked and be persuaded.